Now, moving into our next story of the day, folks, this one is just a doozy. And speaking of me going into my second issue that I find important here is Congress is just spending our money like it's hotcakes, like it's water. And thank God you have some people in Congress with some sort of sane mind here to speak up and rip Democrats for what they did. You guys, this is so irresponsible of this omnibus bill, this like $1.7 trillion package, where literally they're building trails, hiking trails that cost $3.2 million in the name of Michelle Obama. They're literally spending our taxpayer dollars on building parks for Ukraine. They're sending millions of dollars to these transgender LGBTQ plus activist groups, like left and right. They're literally just stealing our money and just throwing it away and saying it's for a good cause. And it's not just Democrats here. Republicans are doing this too. 18 Republicans voted for this damn thing. But I'm going to let Chip Roy rip into them because he's going to basically do it for me. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
For more on this, I yield 5 minutes to my good friend from the great state of Texas, Chip Roy.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank the Speaker. I thank the gentleman from Pennsylvania. And I can't help but be amused that the gentleman from Massachusetts says that we refuse to come to the table. As if the gentlelady who will soon be the chairwoman of Appropriations, Ms. Granger, my colleague from Texas, doesn't want to sit at the table with colleagues on either side of the aisle to come to consensus about how to spend taxpayer dollars, or better stated, how to borrow money we don't have. As if that's actually true. What table is the gentleman referring to? What table does he want us to come sit down and negotiate? It's not this table. I don't have the power to offer an amendment on the floor of the House of Representatives, despite being elected by 750,000 Texans. I don't have the ability or the right to be able to stand up for them and have a debate on the floor of this chamber. Everything the American people is watching right now is a complete sham. It's a fraud. A fraud being perpetrated on the American people right before their eyes, right as we head into Christmas, sitting here on the 23rd of December. When 6 years ago, those boys crossed the Delaware. We were dealing with Valley Forge, or the boys in 1944 sitting in foxholes in Bastogne over Christmas. And we had 18 Republicans who joined with Democrats in the Senate, get on their fancy planes and go home, and we're sitting here trying to do the work of the people.
And I'd like to point out some of those Republicans are on their way out. And so they just loaded this whole thing up with what's called pork. Just because they're on their way out, you go, oh, well, we might as well just spend it all. We might as well just throw everything we possibly can at this thing. Nobody's going to read this 4,100 page bill, and we're just going to get it passed through. And just, it's so corrupt, man. It drives me up a wall because, look, you're all responsible for this. Okay, don't think that this, you know, the government's going to come after you for this money. You know they're going to come after somebody for it. Who else are they going to go after? It's all of us that are allowing and voting these people in to just spend our money. You guys owe almost $300,000 to the government. Do you have $300,000 sitting around? Because I don't. Yes, you owe almost $300,000. It's probably more than that at this point if we were to call on that $30 trillion plus right now. I know it's not going to happen this year or next year, but there's going to be a time where your taxes are going to go through the roof to pay off this damn thing, or that our bond rating goes down, our economy crashes because of this. I mean, you're looking at a terrible situation here, you guys. It's not Democrat, Republican. Forget that stuff right now. We're all in the same bleep storm at this moment. And I'm trying to scare you on purpose because this has to stop. You live your life the way Congress does. How do you think that's going to end for you? Do you think you're going to have to go bankrupt? Do you think you're not going to be able to pay your bills? Do you think your credit score is going to go to crap? You think people are going to want to allow you to borrow from them? I don't think so. It's going to happen at some point, folks. And boy, oh boy, you got to pray to God that you're ready for it because it is going to happen. It's not a matter if bleep is going to hit the fan. It's only a matter of when it's going to happen. It's terrible. It's so terrible that many Americans are just completely turning a blind eye to this thing, including our freaking representatives. They need to be ousted. Republicans, Democrats, they need to be gone. This is bullcrap. I'm trying so hard not to cuss. This is my number one issue outside of immigration. This is so scary. You don't have to be a Democrat or Republican to see this is some terrible things that they are doing. It drives me up a wall because it is so irresponsible. And these are supposed to be the adults. These are supposed to be the people in the room that are supposed to be taking care of us and helping us. This is why you don't rely on government. Government is so filthy. It's so sick. So freaking swampish and just corrupt. It's beyond repair at this point, I think. Because look at what they're doing.
Not spend money we don't have, not drive up more inflation, not have 7,500 earmarks for $16 billion for pet leftist projects across this country. What you see here on the floor of the House of Representatives should make everybody ashamed. The People's House. Not one amendment has been offered on the floor of this body since May of 2016 in open debate. The gentleman from Massachusetts dares to impugn the character of the Appropriations Chairwoman Kay Granger and those Republicans he says won't sit at the table, when in fact what you see here is a 4,100-page bill cooked up by a handful of people behind closed doors, brought before the Rules Committee with no ability to offer an amendment, no ability to debate, no actual discussion on the People's House floor. And my colleagues on the other side of the aisle know it. And we're spending money we don't have. Go home and sell your projects. Go home and talk about all the pork you're bringing home. But you're destroying the United States of America. Absolutely destroying this body. The American people did not send us here to do that. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle know that. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle know full well that this body is broken, but do not care. $45 billion to Ukraine. Have we had a full debate on Ukraine? Or did we take $45 billion of funding for Ukraine, package it on a $1.7 trillion bill, invite the president of Ukraine to address this body for theatrics heading out for Christmas in order to jam through a big spending Democrat priority bill that the American people resoundingly rejected in November? For 70 years, this body, when we've had a transfer of power in the Senate, we have not done this in a lame duck. Yet that's what my Democrat colleagues are doing. There are consequences to this. You can't go out and talk about inflation and talk about what the American people are feeling right now when they're trying to fill up their tanks with gas. They're trying to have presents for their families. They're trying to pay their bills. And then come here and dump hundreds of billions of dollars into the economy while the Fed's raising interest rates and people can't afford to buy homes and they can't live, and say you're doing the people's work. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle, night before last, were apoplectic that Mike Lee was daring to challenge the idea that we should have a bill that literally prohibits Border Patrol from securing the border. He wanted to try to fix that, try to extend Title 42. My Democrat colleagues rejected it, and I sat here on the floor, and they were more concerned about catching their flights for Christmas, coming to me and saying, we can't be here over Christmas. Well, why the hell not? The American people deserve us to be here over Christmas, actually fighting for them, instead of trying to catch planes while half this body are going to vote by proxy. Half this body's not even going to be here, and they're lying. They're lying on forms saying that they're voting by proxy for COVID, and it's a lie. And half this body's going to do it, you know it, and it's destroying this country.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie on anything that great man just said? I'm not saying everything Chip Roy does is good, but where is the lie in any of that? But this is what's going on with Congress, specifically Democrats. It's not a surprise from Democrats to be spending money. They've always been big government. They've always just been spending up the wazoo. Originally, it was not a Republican thing or conservative thing either. But Republicans are just spending as well. That's why I'm pissed. Those 18 people need to be out. I mean, some of the 18 are already going to be out anyways, which is why they just loaded this thing up. But this man is speaking on behalf of the American people. We're all pissed. We're all tired of it. And I'm telling you, you guys, it's going to hit the fan. This isn't one of those conspiracy theory things. We're going to have to pay this money back. And for the love of God, I don't know what needs to get through people's thick skulls to understand that we're going to have a massive situation on our hands here, whenever it may be. It might not happen in your lifetime, might not happen in my lifetime, but some Americans' lifetime it is. And this is what we're leaving for them. I know it's that cliche political statement. Oh, well, what's the life you want to give to your children? You know, is this what you want to give them? Clearly they do. 1.7 here, $1 trillion under Trump. Trump was spending up wazoo as well. I've always said it's one of my biggest issues with Trump. Outside of him always rambling, which I'm a Trump supporter. I'd vote for him a third time. But his spending was out of control and it pissed me off. I'm tired of it. I am really, really tired of it. And I hope all of you are as well. Let me know in the comments. Are you tired of this spending? Do you realize that we're going to have to pay this back? It's not just going to evaporate out of thin air. It's not like you just file bankruptcy as a country. You're like, well, our debts are gone. No, it doesn't work that way. Something's going to happen here, folks. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.